Catarina Ferreira, double-double in both games, 13 and 14, 11 and 11, and just her energy, how that thing is coming together, and just what she has provided this team. It's really been fun to watch her progression. The transfer from Baylor, has just really found herself. And wow, what a time as we see Oregon State on the rise.
What's neat is Kelsey Reese and AJ Murat and Kennedy Schuler and Sela Heidi. These are veterans that the crowd just loves. But quickly, Kat is becoming a Corvallis Gill Coliseum favorite.
She really is, and just looking forward to see what they can do when they hit the road. Vonnie, I want to go back in time. You grew up in a big family in Calgary, and I come from a family of 9, and I know what that experience is like. What's it like growing up in Calgary in a big family, and just what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely super fun. A lot of people, a lot of my siblings that I could just spend time with. And it was great because we kind of all played basketball. So it was kind of like our thing together, just being there to cheer and support each other. And then, with my brothers, like moving to Toronto and things like that, still being able to be connected to them through the sport. It's just very, very special. And I think we're all very lucky to be able to have had that in our lives. And it's just something that's continued to grow with us and just made us stronger and more connected. But I think just that aspect of having people to look up to, having siblings to, inspire them to like achieve their goals and things like that, being in that position has really made me grateful for the opportunities that I've been given and also been able to like take advantage of.
We were both doing some research, just trying to get to know you a little better. And I know it all started at a Steve Nash basketball camp when you were 7. Uh,
Yeah.
when you say Steve Nash, you think Canada, right?
Heck
What's
yeah.
it like being 7
Literally.
at a Steve Nash basketball camp?
I think it was like just some universal moment that happened there.
Oh, that's so awesome. But and then you kept going. Uh, you dreamt at a young age, 10, 11, 12 years old, of someday, that a Canadian Olympic team, oh, that could be me. It started at a young age and you just kept grinding, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got the opportunity at a young age and I was just excited to be there. I didn't know a lot that was going on really at my first camp. So more exposure. But the second time I went there, like I really wanted to attack it and like, go for it because obviously they brought me back. They had their interest in me and that was something that I wanted to be a part of and grow in. So, I mean, I was just ready for anything. I was ready to get out there with Canada and just to be able to, like, the first time, like, put that jersey on my chest, like, just, like, tears, like, just complete pride, and it stuck with me every single time I put on the Canada jersey.
And you wore it a lot, starting and moving on down the line. But how did you find out that you made the Olympic team? What was it? A phone call, a text? How did it happen? And just what was your reaction? Because I read you did a little texting with your brother Melvin, and maybe you shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah. I so they all had we all had individual meetings and things like that. So we would like wait in our hotel room
Oh
after
man.
like the last day of camp and they would bring us in and like let us know if we made it. And before I even went, I called my mom because I was so nervous. Like I was literally like jittery, couldn't sit still. It was like not too late at night, but like after that, like I needed to go to bed. Like, we'd finished the whole day. I was tired. And I told her, I was like, you have to be on the phone when I come back so I can tell you if I made it or not. And then I like went into the room. My coaches had told me I made it, and it was kind of funny. They're all like trying to sit there like with a straight face, like acting like super serious. And I like fell out of my chair. I was like rolling around, like screaming, and like I started crying at one point. I was like, oh my gosh. And they're just sitting there like we're so happy to have you, trying to not like laugh at me because I'm literally like just doing this crazy thing. But that was like just an incredible feeling. Like heart kind of sunk, a stomach kind of sunk. Like everything was just like, what in the world just happened? Then I went back to my room. I told my mom, even though we were not supposed to tell anybody, because I was so excited, and I knew my brother was also trying to get in that position as well. So I was just like, hopefully this gives him like a little bit of a boost as well to like keep pushing in his training because I mean, now that we've both been there, like, if I wasn't there with my brother, I don't think I'd have as great of an experience there as I did. But being at the Olympics with my brother and watching him compete, him watching me compete, I mean, it's just, I don't think there's any like better feeling in the world than that.
What's it like sitting on that boat being like, "I'm on the Olympic team"?
You know what? We actually didn't go to the opening ceremonies. So we
Oh.
we stayed our team stayed in Lille, and we watched the opening ceremonies from a screen, and I was so sad. I wanted to be on that boat so bad. And, a lot of, like, my teammates were friends with some of the, teams that did go. So they were all, like, talking, and they were like, "No, like, it's good for you guys. You don't have to sit out here in the cold and the rain." And I was like, "At the opening ceremonies of the Olympics? Yes, I would."
Right, I'm from Canada, I don't worry about cold and
Yeah.
rain, man.
Exactly.
Uh, we're gonna get, if you don't mind, Vonnie, Mayor, I hope you're with me. I want to kind of keep going back in time a little bit. I'm going to circle the time warp wagon. Um, you played a lot of sports when you were a little kid, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Vonnie?
Yeah,
Okay,
I played, like, track and field, volleyball, basketball. I started off in tennis,
that's the one. That's the
yeah,
one. All right. So Serena Williams, your idol, your
yes.
hero. Why?
I think just like her presence, and the character, that she represents both on and off the court, through tennis, through sports, as a female athlete, as a Black female athlete. I mean, it was very powerful, and I just really got inspired by just like the accolades and the barriers she was continuing to bring down. I think that's so amazing how athletes are able to do that through their sport, through their character, and I kind of wanted to follow in that footsteps. I wanted to be like a great athlete that could like break down those barriers, not only for myself, but for the people that come after me, and also for the people that came before me and tried, that broke it down a little bit more to make it easier for me to do it. And I think just how she embodied that, both in her sport and outside, obviously. It's just always been an inspiration to me. She's still an inspiration to me, kind of like my role model in sports. But I wanted to embody that through my basketball and through my character, and that's kinda what I work towards, like, every single day, but that's my role model.
Ivana, you're not just about basketball, you're also majoring in human physiology, and I know your ultimate goal, at least what I've read, is that you would like to be a doctor and be in medicine. How do you combine those 2 things?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like, definitely 2 very, like high level, like difficult areas, but I think there's a lot of crossover when you think about it, whether that's just basketball or like in the community. But like I am a teammate, I'm a leader, I'm a basketball player. I work with my coaches, I work with the people that are off staff and things like that. And I think a lot of those attributes can like be translated into how you work and serve for other people in the medical field. And I think just to be able to do that and kind of give back resources to people who deserve it, which I think is everyone. Everyone deserves a right to like seek medical care and be treated as they need be and in their best interest. But I think that's kind of why I really enjoy and also strive towards being in the medical field because I want to do that for other people. I want to serve people and help them in that way, and just be like an advocate in that area, just like I would be for my teammates. If they need something, then I'm gonna be an advocate for them, or my coaches need something, I'm gonna be an advocate for them. So I think there's a lot of crossover there for me.
Okay, before we let you go, got to hit one more area that really has impacted myself and Mary. So you're jam packed with schoolwork and hoops, and yet your community involvement has been legendary in the city of Spokane. Food drives, work with seniors, going to local schools, hanging out with little kids, arts and crafts at the Gonzaga Family Haven. Why is this so important? Why is this such the DNA of Yvonne Ejim?
Yeah, I think if anything, coming into Gonzaga, that was definitely a big part for me. Just being able to be in the community and give back. I mean, Spokane's such an amazing place to be in. The community is amazing, and that's not only just our fans, but just different people you interact with, like here and there. It could be at a random restaurant, and somebody's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you go to Gonzaga? We love that school. We love what you guys do. You guys are, doing so good." And it's just to see that love and support support that they give us. I love to be able to give that back to other people. And we've done such an amazing job at finding opportunities in order to do that. And I've been on SAC for my whole entire time here at Gonzaga. I've been the DEI chair. This is my 3rd year. So like I've always wanted to find ways to like go into the community, give back, show appreciation, bring awareness to different things because I think people deserve it. And I also think it's super important. And not only does it's kind of like separate because you're like, oh, you're a student and you're an athlete. How do you like fit this in? But I think being in the community honestly like opens up a new area that some people may not be able to experience if they don't allow themselves to be there. And I think being a part of SAC, being in the community has like opened my eyes to like what Spokane truly is and what Gonzaga is like really about and all that it has to offer. So I'm very grateful for my time spent in the community and on SAC because I think it's opened me up to so much more and through that made me a better person through my time here at Gonzaga.
Wow. Wow. Uh, Bonnie, we thank you.
Go conquer the world.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Your legacy is intact, but I'm going to get greedy, and so is Mary. We want more. So keep doing what you're doing. And obviously, good luck to you and the Zags as we hit the stretch run of the season.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, we appreciate you. Bonnie, take good care. We'll see you down the road. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, yet another special guest. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to Points in the Paint. As a lot of you know, hope you know, this week we celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And joining us to shine a light on the importance of this day and to recognize the progress in women's sports from the grassroots level all the way up through the professional level is WCC Executive Senior Associate Commissioner Connie Hurlbut. Connie, thanks so much for joining us. You played at the collegiate level. You've been a key administrator for women's sports on the college and WNBA level. What stands out in terms of the progress we have made for women's sports, girls up through the professional level?
I'll start with the growth that in the beginning, back when I was at the undergraduate level, it was a day of celebration for girls and women's sports. That's not the right moniker for this anymore, you guys. This is something that people have become much more attuned to the value of participation for women, for the lifelong benefits of women participating in organized athletics and what that does to their careers and how it shapes their lives forever. So I think that to me is the most outstanding development, is just that it's not a day of recognition anymore. It's become part of the social vernacular.
And Connie, why do you think just having a designated day where we talk about it and focus on it, why do you think that's important, especially in our current landscape?
I think there's something that always, when we talk about the progress, when we talk about it in a chronological order, it hasn't been that long.
Where years.
I'm not that old, Mary. I think when you come down to it, it's just sort of like recognizing the progress that's been made. And I think any kind of idea that we can have, any touchstone we can give to current women student athletes about what they're a part of and where it started and where they have the responsibility to project this forward is really critical. And it's a celebration, right? It's not just that. It's looking at the accomplishments that have been accrued by so many female student athletes, in the last 40 years, and what that means to them and their institutions and their teams and their communities and their families, everything.
Connie, when you look at the explosion in the last couple of years on the college level and on the pro level, the WNBA, soccer, across the board, is it something you saw coming? Did you feel like this was inevitable, or where are we at, and why is this happening?
As you're aware, I spent some time at the WNBA back in the 90s, and I think that's really where I saw the potential through a leader like Val Ackerman of what really could happen for women on the professional level, particularly in a sport like basketball. So I'm not going to tell you that I projected it to where it was going to be, this past season in 2024, but I think that the groundwork's been there a long time to make this a successful and sustainable interest and industry
You know, you speak of groundwork. Let's go to your groundwork. You played field hockey and lacrosse at Penn. How did the participation in these sports shape and influence where you are right now, both personally and professionally?
Well, I really picked some lifelong sports there, didn't I? Yeah.
Ha ha.
I think definitely it shaped me. I think, when I was at Penn, Carolyn Schlee-Femovich was the senior women's administrator, and I think, it's the old adage, but if you can see it, you can be it. I think it made me start to think about what I wanted to do with my career and sort of see what opportunities existed for me as a young professional in collegiate athletics. I think that's a lot of it, is just sort of having the opportunity to see someone do something that you didn't necessarily think of before you got to college.
Okay, last one for me. Maybe I don't coach. Maybe I'm not an administrator. I'm not. But how can all of us be a part of this incredibly important movement and keep the momentum going? How can we do it?
We support it, we read about it, we follow it, we make it part of the conversation. I think the more sometimes, sometimes when you share this information that you have particular to women's sports with people who are not necessarily as dialed in as we are, it extends the narrative and it makes somebody, maybe I should take a look at that. Things like the vehicles like these that open the storytelling that's available to so many student athletes, to share what that's like and to share the vibrancy of those experiences. I think the women's experience is very, very vibrant and very watchable.
Connie, thanks so much for joining us. And obviously, thank you so much for your decades of tireless, impactful contributions. You've touched so many lives, and we thank you deeply.
Thank you. Nice to be here today.
Great to have you. So much fun talking to Connie. That was good. That was good. All right, Mayor, let's bring this train to the station by looking ahead to some of the big games in WCC play. You are up.
Well, I love looking ahead because after what we had last weekend, we know there's just going to be great drama. And the ones we talk about aren't even necessarily the ones that are going to be awesome. We never know. But Thursday, Gonzaga travels to St. Mary's. It's the first meeting. It's really late to have the first meeting. But St. Mary's is struggling right now. They've lost 3 straight and they need to get back on track. Gonzaga's won 9 straight. Should be an epic battle. We all know what happened when the men played last weekend. At St. Mary's, knocked off Gonzaga. Just the history and the energy that happens between these two schools is awesome, and you are very well aware of that, Ann.
All right, Saturday.
Oh,
One that I got you, baby. Talk to me.
Saturday, Washington State goes to Gonzaga. You drive up the road. You hope there's no snow or ice. 2:00 tip. The Zags won the first meeting 69-61, won by 8. They made 11 threes in that game. I mean, it was just raining down threes. And that's something Washington State's got to do a much better job of. I think Washington State's got to play their best game of the year. They've got to have balance up and down the lineup. Starters got to be solid. We know their bench is vastly improved, but this game is going to be epic, and I think it's going to be a blast to watch.
Oregon State, like you said, in the middle of the pack, fighting for a top seed, goes against a San Diego team that's been so close, Mayor.
I know, so close, and they just haven't been able to pull it out at the end. And Oregon State's been a little up and down on the road, and so maybe San Diego will be able to catch them on this one, just be comfortable. And, they've got 2 at home. They start with Portland and then Oregon State. But talk about a 1-2 punch. You got to prepare for Portland and what they do to you defensively. And now what Oregon State's doing defensively with all those steals, how just their tempo and pace has improved so dramatically of late. But for San Diego, you never want a team to be an offer. You want them to get a win. And, every opportunity to take the floor and make that happen is a big one.
All right. Great stuff as always. The professor weighing in. All right. That's going to do it for another edition of Points in the Paint. Mary and I just love having you with us. It's a weekly date, isn't it, Mary? It's great.
It is.
Looking forward to seeing everybody next week. And until then, everybody, have a great week.